I am live. Okay. All right, everyone, please take a seat. We're beginning right now. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay. So does anyone have an idea what GenerAction Jam is in the audience? To someone who's new, raise your hand if you're new. Okay, you're new. So what is GenerAction Jam? Do you know what GenerAction Jam is? Without looking at that, you don't know. What about you? I'm sorry. Do we have a second mic, Alex? Yeah. Yeah.
Test 1, 2, test.
Jamila. Jamila, are you here? Okay. Can you please take a microphone to the people? So, what's your name? I'm sorry. What? Oh yeah.
My name is Amal.
Amal.
Yes.
So, what do you think GenerAction Jam is?
What? Um, I was excited honestly to attend this event. My friend Farah, she's helping on the coffee machine now. Invited me, and I came here to see the creativity of people.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyone else new over here? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Okay. Can we please take it to him? What do you think GenerAction Jam is?
I think it's a event to get everybody together. From
Event to
different
get everyone
generations.
together.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting responses. I guess on the flyer we got to make it clear. Okay. Raise your hand if you're new. So, what brought you here, and what do you think GenerAction Jam is?
I came with my team, and I heard about the event when I came out like last week. And generational, what is it again?
GenerAction Jam.
Pretty much a generation of people who taking action to gym and just have fun.
Just have fun.
That hey now.
Oh man, these are very simple answers. That I mean, that's one of the goals, right? To have fun, to learn more about the community, to watch performances and stuff like that. So what GenerAction Jam is a platform for young Muslims to voice their opinions on anything, as long as it's respectful to Islamic values, right? So we have things like poetry, we have things like comedy skits. People sometimes showcase their short films and documentaries, and then sometimes you might just hear like a stand-up comedy as well. Is Akram in the audience? Oh no, he's not here today. I missed you, Akram. If you're watching live, I miss you. You should have been here. Okay. Without further ado, let's begin with our first performer, Sobia Siddiqui. Currently works for Helping Hand for Relief and Development. In her spare time, she enjoys reading stories and telling stories from her life. Is your brother Farhan Siddiqui? Oh man, I love playing Fortnite with him.
Also, I'm 5'2". I appreciate that. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So, stories, right? And the stories come from our journeys, which are packed full of these tiny little adventures. And one of my most recent adventures was that I was supposed to get married tomorrow. The keywords there are supposed to. And I was supposed to get my bridal mehendi today. Again, the keywords there are supposed to. Of course, things did not quite go according to plan, alhamdulillah. And these past 48 hours, I've been thinking, what got me here? Like, where did this start? How? Was it at 18 when I was diagnosed with PCOS and I thought, I don't know if I can have kids? Was it when I was 23 and I was told I actually probably can't have kids? So I thought, okay, I'm not getting married at all. Was it at 28 when I thought, well, maybe I kind of want to get married. I'm sure there's a single dad who's looking for like a kick butt stepmom, right? Or someone who can adopt with me, or maybe just someone who doesn't want kids, right? There's all kinds of possibilities. But this particular adventure started about 8 months ago when I matched with Ahmed for privacy purposes. And he said that he wants to come down from Dallas to meet me. So I said, okay, great. I prayed my istikhara. It's like, this man is driving 4 hours. I need to make sure that it's not for nothing. So I prayed my istikhara, and this is the clearest istikhara I have ever seen. It wasn't a matter of feelings. It wasn't a matter of circumstances changing. I had an istikhara dream. I woke up shaking, and I saw myself get married. I saw the lehenga. I saw the family. I didn't see the groom's face, but I thought, well, I'm meeting him tomorrow, right? So all through the day, I keep staring at him, and I'm having this inner monologue with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm like, okay, this is the one. He has prettier eyelashes than me, and that's not cool, but you know what? It's fine. I'll make it work. And, I'm feeling good. And then he goes back to Dallas, and he tells me he didn't see anything. I was like, oh, okay, so it's just my istikhara. So I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe it's timing. Maybe it's just a matter of not now. And then I got sick. And I got really sick. I'm talking 2 weeks in the ICU, almost died 3 times, 6 weeks of recovery, kind of sick. And it scared Ahmed. So then he starts calling and making sure I'm okay. And we go from being okay to close to, why aren't we really trying this again? So he makes his way back, right? A few months have passed. And again, I pray my istikhara. I'm like, Ya Allah, I need you to be clear with me because I'm thick in the head. I can't tell, right? And so I'm praying. I'm like, Ya Allah, on his way here, if it's not meant to be, pop his tire. Nothing happened to him, right? Like, I don't want any harm, but just like pop his tire. Don't let him get here. But he showed up, and I was like, okay, this is the one, right? And I'm having these conditions with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Like, if he's the one, then this. If he's not the one, then this. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like, we can't put conditions on him. He allows us to grow through wisdom, through our tests. It's a convoluted system that is beyond our grasp. So he shows up. Everything goes great. It's a magical day. And before you know it, we're engaged. And then before you know it, he's moving to Houston, and he's met my family, and we've set a date. And then we grow apart, and we are constantly anxious and scared. And it's not wedding jitters. It's like actual, we're petrified. We can't move. And so I go to the learned community members, right? I go to my therapist, Sadia Jalali, and Sheikh Isa Parada, who I saw earlier. Go to them. They're amazing, mashallah. So I tell them everything. I'm like, I prayed my istikhara. It was clear. So why isn't this working? And they're like, how do you feel right now? And I was like, scared. I want out, and I've never wanted out, but I want out, and I don't know why. So there's something wrong with me. And they go, no, that is your istikhara. You pray and you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance, but you also ask him for afiyah. You ask him for clarity. They're like, do you have afiyah? No. Do you know what you need to do? Yes. That's your clarity. So it ended less than a week before the actual event was supposed to happen. You want to talk about a big whammy. But subhanAllah, the thing is, I knew I was supposed to go on this journey. I knew for a fact that this man was supposed to share in some part of my life. I just assumed it was for forever because I was thinking marriage. But my family came out of there with a ton of lessons. And more than my family, I got the lessons. I had to completely reanalyze who I was and how I functioned. And one of the big red flags that I recognized on myself is that I have devoted my life to making everyone around me happy so that I can be happy in their happiness. But I never really figured out how to make myself happy. And I realized that somewhere along the way, for some reason, I got this notion in my head that I did not deserve love. So in the 4 years of trying to complete my deen, I didn't look for love. I looked for everything else. And now I'm sitting here at this like crossroads of myself, realizing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made all of us. And He made all of us in love and with good. So how can we assume that we don't deserve love and good too? You know, we go through our lives, and right now marriage is the focus, right? This is the test of our generation. So how do we survive it? Well, we keep in mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Hazrat Hawa from Hazrat Adam as-salam's rib. Not from her father, not from a father, a brother, a son, from her husband. Right, they are apart. This was very purposeful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them of earth. He didn't create her of a different substance. They were the same substance. And there's a divine plan, and I know all of you understand what I'm talking about, but we can't verbalize what this means, but we know it. And this is how we are supposed to go about trying to complete our deen. So how can we complete our deen with someone who doesn't complete us? I'm learning. I think all of us are. So it's a hard journey. It's a hard journey when you have to start from the inside out. But alhamdulillah, Ramadan always seems to come in right in the nick of time. So I'm making dua for all of us, especially in the journey of our love stories. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to walk in the footsteps of Hazrat Adam as-salam and Hazrat Hawa, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Hazrat Khadija, and all those before us who epitomized not just what it means to be the coolness of someone's eyes and the sukoon in their heart, but to be a partner through trial and tribulation, to be able to hold hands together and have tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together. Ameen. Also, on a final note, Ahmed and I are good. We went back to just friends. It's better this way, and I pray the best for him, and it's kind of on to the next adventure, right? Thank you.
Jazaki Allah khair, Sobia. That was quite an emotional ride. Istikhara. A lot of people have misconceptions on istikhara. Sometimes they feel like you have to see a dream. That's not necessarily true. You can see a dream. That's one of these signs. And a lot of it, like you mentioned, was it's if something is meant to happen, Allah will make it easier. The answer is in the result. So if you pray istikhara on something and things don't go your way, that's the answer. You know, it's not necessarily, oh, it became harder and harder and harder. I mean, yeah, that's part of the answer, but the answer is not happening, right? Or happening from the istikhara prayer. And the next performer is Shahid Sahrur. Shahid is a Palestinian filmmaker and an owner of her own production company, Honey Blackbird Films. She's worked on a few shorts since her time in HCC's film program and is currently finalizing her Palestinian short film called Emin, set pre-Nakba, 1948, following a mother and her 10-year-old daughter as they tend to their daily chores. Can we please have Shahid on stage? Oh, okay.
Assalamu alaikum. I didn't know I would have to be up here since I'm just showing a short film, or no, a mini documentary. But yeah, I created a mini documentary 2 years ago on on halal meat, and I believe that's what they're gonna show now. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. Here. Might be a little hot.
Thank you, Shahid, for the documentary. Would you like to add some words to the documentary? Like, when was this documentary filmed?
So the documentary was filmed a couple of years ago because I was actually attending HCC, the film program, and I was in a documentary course, and that was assigned to us to film something. And I really like to do something about halal meat. It was just like, the meat industry in the U.S. is just so awful, and the way that they treat the animals is so very disturbing. So I really wanted to kind of portray the halal meat industry in a way where you can see that it's very beneficial for Muslims and non-Muslims. And I guess that it was a grueling process. Documentaries are not easy to make. I will tell you that from now. But I was happy to have done it, and I learned a lot from it. So it was awesome. And yeah, and I have a couple other stuff that I've done, and I'm hoping to do like the Palestinian film, inshallah. So one day, I'll showcase it here, hopefully.
Thank you, Shahid. What's an interesting fact is one of my dream jobs is to one day be an actor or filmmaker. So I really admire the work you have done. So, who is the next performer? Let's see. The next performer she goes by the name Rosaline Suwaidi. Rosaline is a Palestinian nutrition student at the University of Houston. In her free time, though, she would rather be reading or writing. Today, she will be presenting a poem honoring her grandmother. So can we have Rosaline on the stage, please?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rosaline Swady. A little background on this, on the poem. The first time I've seen my father cry was when my grandmother died. I was only 6 years old at the time, but there wasn't much I could comprehend at the time. But I understood that moment. In that moment, the sadness that took over my house. I wrote this poem to honor my grandmother, Allah Yarhamha, and to honor the trials, tribulations, and amazing things she's done in her life. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My paternal grandmother spent her life walking through paths marked with hot coals, from leaving Palestine to watching her daughter die, only 5 years old. It seemed to me that almost every step she took was met with a burn to the soles of her feet, yet she never cried out in defeat. When my grandmother passed away, so much of her life was kept a mystery. I've heard of her from relatives, but it was from her herself that I wanted to hear her history. It felt as if I was stranded in a desert and was only being given drops of water when I truly craved a river. Unfortunately, she did not know how to read nor write, so I was left undelivered. But time moves on, and so do my thoughts. I forget about my search, my worries turn to naught. It's not until I look into a mirror that I see her eyes in mine, that I'm reminded that although she is gone, she remains within my family line. My father feeding the local masjid kittens, pushed forth by his heart. My uncle taking care of his widowed sister's children, making sure that they don't drift apart. Their actions are influenced by their mother's words, that the world is cruel, but through kindness we can make that more blurred. She is no longer in this dunya, but I pray she continues to receive good deeds, for she continues to do good on earth through her children's leads. I pray that one day I'll reunite with her, surrounded by Jannah's flowers, her head on my lap as I read her this poem, making up for all our lost hours. I pray that as the words slip from my lips without a single quiver, she'll see that the hot coals she has walked on have led her to her river. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosaline, for your poem about your grandmother. Grandmothers are pretty special. They do things that I don't think in this modern day and age we'll be able to emulate. They pray a lot more than, they're not affected by the dunya as much. And we ask Allah to whoever has living grandmothers, for Allah to bless them and grant them afiyah, which means well-being. And for those who have passed away, may Allah have mercy on them and grant them the highest of paradise. Ameen. So, who's our next performer? Our next performer, she goes by the name Noah, twice? Or Jordan. Wife and mother to one, inshallah too. Oh, that makes sense now. She's the mattress plug, so hit her up if you need better sleep.
That's why he said inshallah too. We got one on the way, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Inshallah. All right. Bismillah. I've been really emotional at GenerAction Jam lately, and it looks like I'm about to cry half the time. It's just these hormones, and I write about things that make me very passionate and happy or sad, so just bear with me if I need to take a breath here. And again, every time I'm here now, if I'm breathing heavy, it's because I'm pregnant. Okay, Bismillah. Each morning, those chocolate brown eyes open and he utters one word, Bismillah. He says good morning to his wife and sabah al-khair to his son and gives him a warm embrace. His feet hit the floor and he walks over to the sink. Once again, Bismillah. He washes his face and performs wudu with intention, just as he has done every morning for 19 years. He runs to the kitchen to prepare a quick breakfast for his toddler so he can pray with little interruptions. He dresses himself in his prayer clothes, gently unfolds his prayer rug, and places his turban down gently. Once more, a word full of beauty and intention parts his lips. Bismillah. I've watched my husband pray every day and every morning since we have been married. And some days I pray with him, and some days I don't. His intention and persistence to make sure his prayer is not an option inspires me daily. I know for some people this sounds so easy, so simple. But for some of us, converts and raised Muslims alike, prayer is something we struggle with. Tonight, the unofficial theme is mindfulness. And the first thing that came to mind was how much this next Ramadan will, inshallah, be about mindfulness to me. And inshallah, all of you here tonight can make sure you're doing everything in your life with clear and good intentions. Stay mindful, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. So someone in the community wanted to announce an event, an exciting event happening tomorrow. Who here likes basketball? Raise your hand. Only a few people? I like to play basketball. Like watching is unless if it's like the finals game, I guess. I'm not that hype. But this event is hype. There's Muslim Family Night tomorrow, Saturday, March 11th at 7 p.m. The tickets are $19, and there's a post-game Q&A with Hakeem Olajuwon, a member of our community. You know, when I was a kid, I was starstruck. I thought I was tall until I saw Hakeem, and I was like, whoa, as a kid, you know. It's pretty awesome. If you want more information, you can ask Anab El Tayyib. She's right over here. Raise your hand, Anab. She has more information about it. Okay, on to our next performer. You know what's pretty funny? Like I'm going through the WhatsApp, and what my friends, I told my friends that I'm hosting GenerAction Jam tonight, but they're at a wedding, and they kept making a joke because of my performance last month about Saad GPT or Chat GPT, as you know, and so they're like Chat GPT Jam, Chat GenerAction. I'm pretty much a host GPT. So, our next performer is going to be Rawan Imad. Can I have Rawan Imad on the stage and to give a brief introduction, please? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. So my name is Rawan. I'm Sudanese. I was born in New York and I moved to Houston a while back. I tried this poetry. Well, I tried writing for a while. I stopped and then I got back onto it. And then today, somebody tried to convince me that my poetry was it was awful, and that I'm a lot worse at it than I thought I was. So I was like, okay, that's enough time. I've been in the audience for too long, so I'm gonna just give it a go. I have 2 poems. All right. Yeah. Prosthetic, synthetic, repetitive thoughts. And I can't stand with a million thundering thoughts throwing me down. And I can't stay down with pounding passion pushing me up. It's tragic, you're laughing, but the only thing I cared about was making you happy. I went through so much for you. The trial and tribulation, awakening a beast inside me, resides in me proud, astounded about who I am, or rather what I have become. I found peace within me, the betrayal beaten, the corridor door creeping. You're creeping up to make sure I haven't gone far without you, because in reality, I never needed you. Defeated, you stand in shame, not because you realize you lost, but you realize I'm gonna make it far. A toss and turn of quick heftiness to politeness, but so stern with my heart, you smiled while you watched it burn, and I cried screaming for help, and the only response I got was from my echo. And as your voice echoed in my head, I realized I would never have no company, because the spells you placed on me never left me lonely. If only you knew how it felt to be treated good by you. But that's something I can't even imagine. The people-pleasing days are over, but the scars are still open. Tears in my eye for every carefully crafted freckle on her face, somehow shutting me into disgrace. But you can't make a million people happy without losing your own place. So in place, I tried to find a balance. It was like balancing a scale with a brick on one side and the other a feather. Somehow, no matter how hard I jumped, I was weaker. But your words dragged me down. The echoes never left. My heart will never be at rest because of you, because I hate you. And hate is a strong word, but don't correct me because I didn't use it wrong. I hate the way you made me feel. I hate the countless nights you wet my pillow with my tears. I hated lying about being okay because you never let me voice my opinion of me. So really, I hate you. I hate you because every time I thought I was doing well, you made me feel like I was arrogant when instead I was proud. I hate that nothing I did was ever enough. I hate that I was either sensitive and weak or my other option was to play tough. I hate that my heart has crumbled and dried because the moisture came out through my eyes. I hated the redness and puffiness in them. I hated the voices you collected in my head, not meant for a man but your evil crew. If only you knew what I hated most of all was looking in the mirror every day and seeing you. Thank you. All right, and then there's another one. Okay, it's called Can't Have Anything. Can't have anything. I can't feel too happy about anything. I might mess it up. Don't think too hard. Your mind might ruin the grind. Can't write too well because you'll have to outdo it your next time. Can't feel too proud when I'm not done with the fight. Can't sing for liberation when I'm under chains. The chains of society's games quietly craves hardship, wanting to invoke the mind and dismantle the heart. Heart was too hard to go anywhere to start, or rather, it was too sensitive to move, afraid to lend itself as it would fall victim to the abuse. Seems like society set in place a wicked truce. So stand with conviction, but know that you are nothing more than a mere hologram, too soft to stand, too weak to be. Why be what you can't be? Why dream a vision you can't achieve? Why lend your heart to thieves? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Rawan, for those beautiful poems. I wanted to end before we begin our intermission. There was an ayah that I was reflecting on after Jordan, mashallah, may Allah bless her, is having 2 kids, inshallah. I just wanted to recite this Quranic ayah. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة عين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما. Our Lord, grant us from our spouses and offspring comfort to our eyes and make us models for the muttaqeen. Muttaqeen are those who have taqwa. What is taqwa? Some say fear of God, some say being mindful of God, and some say God consciousness. It's all. The fear is from the displeasure of Allah and being mindful of Him. And so may Allah make us of those in this ayah. Ameen. Oh yeah, my bad. We are going to have an intermission right now. The coffee station is going to be open back up, and so get your coffee before it shuts back down. Shout out to Kahwa Houston for the specialty coffee that they provide, GenerAction Jam. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. We will be beginning at 10 p.m. once more. At 10 p.m., which is in 4 minutes, sub 4 minutes, okay? So inshallah, we will be beginning. So everyone, if they can start finding their seats, and those who are getting coffee, pray. Pray 10 o'clock doesn't hit, and you're standing in line, okay? Thank you. All right, assalamu alaikum, everyone. The program is beginning shortly. Please get to your seats. I was about to say desks. Please get to your seats, and we shall begin the program once more. I think in this time I can write a poem. I could tell ChatGPT to write a poem on seats and getting seated, you know? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it while I'm waiting for people to come over here. Let's do it real quick. Chat.openai.com. Can you write a poem on getting the audience seated? Okay, so this is what I said. Can you write a poem on getting the audience seated for an open mic event? And this is what it said. All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It didn't say that, but obviously I got to start with the name of Allah. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat, for the night is young and promises to be sweet. We have poets and artists of all kind, and they're waiting to unleash the creativity of their mind. The air is charged with a sense of anticipation as we welcome you to this night of inspiration. Our stage is set, our mic is hot. We promise you an evening you'll never forget. Okay, that was weird rhyme scheme. So come on in and take a seat and get ready to be amazed by the talent and passion that these artists have raised. Their voices will sing, their words will ignite. In this moment, the world will feel just right. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show as we let the artists take control. The stage is theirs, but the audience is a key. But without you, their art would not be seen. This is ChatGPT, not me, just for your information. But in just 30 seconds, I typed that prompt in. On stage, I pressed the enter button, and I recited it. All right. Can we get everyone on this to take their seats, please? All right. You know what? Let me do one of my poems. You'll find out. You'll find out. What was it? All right. Okay. So remember how I wrote a poem last last GenerAction Jam, and I did 6 performances, right? Or six pieces, and only one of them was mine. Well, then I decided to ask ChatGPT, write a poem on a poet betraying the audience by using AI to generate the poetry and then announcing he fooled them at the end of the poetry. So I wrote a poem, and then it said that he felt bad at the end, right? But I was like, I didn't feel bad. You know, I laughed about it because it was a social experiment. Can you rewrite that? And so this is what I rewrote. He stood before the crowd, his voice clear and strong. The audience waited eagerly for his poetic song. They had come from far and wide to hear him speak, to listen to the words of the poet. Wise and meek, he began to recite, his words flowing like a river. The imagery he painted made the crowd shiver. The emotions he evoked left them in awe. The poet had them under a trance without any flaw, but as he came to the end, he made a stunning confession. His poetry was not his own. It was not a poetic expression. He had used the machine and AI to generate the lines. Then the crowd was left stunned, unsure of how to define, but the poet did not feel bad. He just laughed out loud. It was all part of his social experiments, he said, and he felt proud to see how the audience would react to the revelation, to test their perception of what poetry would be without hesitation. The audience was surprised, but they slowly began to understand. The poet's intention was not to cheat, but to expand their perception of what poetry could be with technology's aid. to push the boundaries of art, to make it new and not fade, the poet left the stage with a smile on his face. He had achieved his goal to create a new poetic space, to challenge the traditional, and to inspire a new generation to see what that poetry can be found even in technological innovation. Saad GPT. So I was like, man, I'm gonna write a poem, about this. And I was like, you know what? Let me tell the AI to write a poem about this. Okay, our next contestant. Why was I gonna say contestant? Right. Before I begin, who here likes coffee? Raise your hand. Oh, snap. Okay. I mean, I saw the line. I saw the line. Who here does not like coffee? You. Why is it that you do not like coffee? Do you get jittery? Does anyone not like coffee because they get jittery? Okay, I guess I'm the only one. I get jittery when I drink coffee, but there's this supplement that I've recently come across. Have you ever drank green tea and with that caffeine you were like relaxed, but then when you drank coffee you were like jittery and anxious? Well, green tea has the same caffeine, but it has an amino acid in it called L-theanine. It provides that calming effect. So and it's a natural compound found in green tea. So if you're ever looking for, the focus, the razor focus from coffee and like the benefit of green tea, look at L-theanine. And now, without further ado, our next poet is Kevin French? Yeah. Can we please have him on stage and give an introduction, please? Thank you. I'm sorry, not Kevin French. Ilya Mehrit Reza. Her bio is that she's good at storytelling. So can you please tell me a little bit more about yourself, please? Thank you.
Okay, hi, my name is Ilya Mirzai. I am Bolivian and I'm Afghan. So I just kind of wanted to get up here a little bit and talk about being the daughter of a convert and the struggles of being American and Muslim. So I go to a Catholic university. I chose it because it had a relatively good scholarship and it was a pretty small school. And I'm a biochemistry major, so I figured a small school would be the perfect choice for me. The only thing that I was hesitant about was the fact that it was a Catholic university. I already am kind of like detached from Islam. I never really got to fall in love with the religion the way my mom did. The only reason I want to say that I am kind of holding on to Islam is because my mom talks about it so often. She talks about why she chose Islam over Catholicism, and it never fails to amaze me. And so I started my freshman year, and it was definitely interesting. I fell through a serious case of imposter syndrome because I have all these Catholic students, coming to me, asking me questions about Islam, is it true about this? Is it true about that? Can I ask you about your hijab? And I would answer all these questions without hesitation. I didn't mind, but part of me felt fake. I felt like it wasn't my place to be speaking about Islam, even though I didn't really know, I don't know as much about the religion as I wish I did. So speaking on it, I felt weird. And one thing about going there that I've noticed is going to a Catholic university has actually brought me a lot closer to Islam because you see the dedication, and in a way it's like, oh, if these people can do it, then why can't I? Why can't I be as close with Allah? Why can't I be as close, to my religion as they can? If they can take time out of their day to go to church once a week, I can take time out of my day to pray 5 minutes, 5 times. It's not that big of a deal. So it's been interesting. It's been definitely a wild ride. I think the biggest thing that really kind of hit me was in my theology class. We were talking about the story of Adam and Eve, and Catholics believe that they are born with sin, And this is something that shocked me because, you know, we are taught as Muslims that Allah is beyond merciful, that even if at the end of the day, no matter how detached you are, even if you feel some slight, you know, emotion, some pull there, you can be forgiven. This is something that I've tried to talk to my friends about, and they're like, oh, it's not really the same for us. You know, we were born thinking differently. And so it's been a journey, you know. I will say that it's been nice to be growing closer to Islam. I've found myself kind of coming at a peace, you know, seeing the differences, finding the connections, and finding out where the truth lies between us. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Elia. I wanted to say that in Islam, if a child was to die, you know, like in Catholicism, like a person's born with sin, and in Islam, we, like when we're born, and if a baby was born and it passed away immediately, they go to Jannah, right? We are not held accountable for our actions until we hit puberty. And psychologically, it's interesting because in psychology, you don't become an independent thinker until you hit puberty. So that was really interesting on how I related to your speech. So the next person that will be performing is a familiar face. Can you guess who it is? I mean, you're a volunteer. You don't count. I'm just kidding. All right, yeah. Can we have Nacho Average on stage? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Before I perform, I want to say that it's an honor to be here on this stage and to share the stage with such an amazing poet back there. I met this brother. He's an amazing brother. He did a lot of work in the community. He was actually last year around the same time, we were both team leaders at a youth camp, and now Allah has brought us together again here in Houston. So alhamdulillah. And if you only knew, you probably would have already bought this book, but inshallah you will see why you should have. Time goes by in the blink of an eye. Tears real dry still, hear my cry still, heal my soul, Allah, fill this hole. It's starting to take a toll. And so I suppose it ain't safe to keep it G in the world so cold. So cold, but your presence give me fuzzy feelings. Feeling like I cracked the code, say the dhikr of Allah, everything else isn't relevant or worthy of reverence. Spoken past and present tense to make this point more intense. Tomorrow isn't promised, and that's a promise. It's best to pay homage like it's best to pray. Hey, calculated movements, robotic, we compute. Know where we need to be, but get lost when we commute. In search of new beginnings, hit restart or reboot. Some choose to weed out problems or troubleshoot. Know who you crossing at an intersection. Lord knows, be careful who you be asking for directions. I said, Lord knows, so be careful who you're asking for directions. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Nacho Average. All right, who is next? Can we get Kevin on stage, please? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, he's praying. Kevin's praying. So you know what? I'll do a poem, while we wait. And no, it's not going to be ChatGPT. It's an original poem. This is made years ago. I'm only going to do half of it because the other half it still needs some work. I need to edit it. All right. Bismillah. Can't we see how we used to be? We're a nation built by refugees, but we're unappeased for those overseas, whether they're Syrian or Burmese, from the borders they are seized. Even though they come in peace, feeling days of unease, PTSD and heartbreaking memories, and trials of devastation and disease, families and trees, mixed in debris, escaping from the mist of dead bodies, facing miseries of the highest degree. Through the perils of the seas, they flee to what we believe as the land of the free. If one was your niece, would you then be displeased? Then why does our heart freeze, unaffected, whether they come in one piece? Thank you. Okay. Okay. Is Kevin ready now? Bismillah. All right, we have Kevin over here. While he's walking, let me do another poem. Also original. Bismillah. Dear sisters and brothers, we all came from mothers, loving our moms 3 times more than our fathers, and Jannah bound are those who raised 2 or 3 daughters. Best amongst the women of their time, Khadija and Maryam, strong, independent women of great honor to name some. They may say Islam oppresses women, limiting their rights. In reality, those best to their women have reached the best of heights. God raised your statuses. Don't let anyone make you feel another way. May you continue to be honored. Happy belated International Women's Day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I want Kevin on stage. And Kevin, can you give an introduction?
Yes, of course. Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin. I recently converted into Islam. It's been a month and a couple days, and thank you. Mashallah. And well, today I wanted to talk. It's almost like a poem/story, and as much as I wanted to finish it, I couldn't finish it, but I'm gonna just like go off of my heart at the end, okay? So, yeah. So this poem/story is called Putting God First, okay? So putting God first, I never really understood this concept. My mother, may Allah bless her, would always tell me, you won't succeed unless you put God first. And that would always go over my head. And I think for 2 reasons. Number 1, because I didn't really understand what that really meant. And number 2, because even though I would hear it with my ears and see it with my eyes, my mom desperately telling me every other day to my face, is that I was truly blinded. That's the second reason. And before I found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I didn't know I was blinded, but there were a lot of different signs and feelings that I had. Like, for example, I had a lot of anxiety, going through depression, laziness, my mind being clouded all the time, overeating, being unorganized, always having a messy room, and so many other things that I was struggling with. Even though I wanted change and I wanted to succeed in my life, and even simple things like being an organized person, it felt impossible. It was like a heavy, heavy weight on my soul and my body. And that's how it literally feels like. And it explains why I felt unsuccessful in my ventures, even though I would give it my all, put everything on the line to make something out of myself. And at the end of all my journeys and my ventures, I always ended up feeling empty, depressed, and having anxiety. And most of all, lonely, feeling like I had no one to turn to, no one who truly understood what it felt like. I always knew something was missing. But you see, I'm grateful for everything that I've gone through because I know what it's like on the other side. So one day, like literally randomly, I had a thought, and I decided to ask one of my best friends, Isa, he's here, shout out to him, what was the definition of haram? Even though I kind of knew what it meant because I've heard it like around, in social media and people that I kind of know. And I just decided to ask him randomly. And literally that conversation changed my life. and I'm talking about something that happened literally a month and a couple days ago. And I know that sounds crazy, but the way my friend Isa was explaining things to me about haram, about Islam, and about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's like I felt a connection deep in my heart. Like that feeling of emptiness, it was starting to get overfilled like right away. And it's so crazy to me. And it made me emotional from just the first conversation that we had, literally about it. And well, that led me to asking more about it and more and more and more and more. And then after I learned the bit that I learned from my good friend, in which I'm talking about like a 2-day span, I was getting signs, like signs that I never experienced in my life. And they were so clear to me. It was like my eyes opened for the first time in my life. Signs that I needed to commit, signs that I needed to believe and truly put God first. Now it started making more sense to me, the term of putting God first. And this is one of the main things that I love about Islam, is that no matter what you do, is that you put God first. And you see, I never knew this even existed. I knew Islam existed. I've had Muslim friends most of my life, but I never even looked into it or understood, just because I grew up in a Catholic family and I just was blinded. I just didn't know, And like putting God first to me is Islam. Like you have to wake up at 5:30 a.m. every day. Praying is the first thing that you do in the day. When the sun rises, you pray to Allah. You pray at noon, you pray in the afternoon, the evening, and then when the sun goes down. And between all of that, like you're still thinking about God. Like you're still praying and you're still asking for guidance and asking for forgiveness. And I have a lot more, but it's kind of unorganized. But my point is that I'm like I said, like I've seen what the other side is like. And now that I've found God and I've found Islam, it's like I never want to let go of that connection. One of my biggest fears now is losing that connection with God. So that's why now I'm just like praying every day. I try to pray every moment of the day. I try to do my prayers every single day. Like my whole life has literally changed. So it's a very beautiful thing, especially when you don't know and you're blind and you feel alone and you feel anxiety and you just feel down. When you feel that way, all you have to do is turn to God, because God has your back no matter what. And this is something that's new to me. And my point is that I'm just grateful that I'm here, that I'm able to express myself. God, I feel like I had to come up here and just talk about it, because it's such a beautiful thing. It's like my relationship with my family has never been so better. Like my lifestyle has never improved so much ever in my life. I've never prayed so much in my life. And yeah, I just hope to meet, some of y'all and make more friends in the Muslim community and just be connected more with good people, because I know everybody here is a good person. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Allahu Akbar. Beautiful words by Kevin. It reminds me of the ayah that comes directly after Ayat al-Kursi, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْأُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا, which means, excuse me, sorry. So like it talks about there shall need, like the big, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, sorry. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. Let there not be compulsion in religion, for the truth stands out clearly from falsehood. So whoever renounces false God and believes in Allah has certainly grasped the firmest, unfailing handhold. And Allah is all-hearing and all-knowing. So, have you ever heard of the phrase, let go and let God? Right? In the Quran, it also says, bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. It's from the remembrance of Allah that our hearts find comfort. If you're struggling in your life, right? There is some adhkar you can do, the morning and evening adhkar. It really boosts me up. I used to have fatigue so many times throughout the day, right? And the morning and evening adhkar, literally, I don't get fatigue anymore. I rarely get stomach aches. I even ate something allergic that I was allergic to the night before, and I didn't do my morning and evening adhkar. I was saying my morning adhkar, right? In the morning, and I kid you not, I sneezed. And after, while I was reciting it, I sneezed so hard that like the allergy symptoms literally went away. That's how amazing adhkar can be. The scholars have said that there is power of adhkar in giving you energy, because there was one time where I believe it was Fatima radiallahu anha that asked the Prophet ﷺ that she wanted like a servant, right? And the Prophet ﷺ said, recite Subhanallah 33 times, recite Alhamdulillah 33 times, and recite what was it? Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar 34 times, right? And that was the advice that was given, and that's where the scholars have derived that adhkar can actually give you energy, right? And in the morning and evening adhkar is a list of adhkar that you do in the morning and evening that the Prophet ﷺ told us to do, right? And so, who is our next performer? It's our feature. Who is our feature? He goes by Zaid Hamid. Side Effect is a Muslim poet and a community organizer born and raised in East St. Louis, Illinois. Currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia, Zaid has been writing poetry since 2015 and has recently published his book titled, If You Only Knew. Zaid enjoys using his poetry as dawah for communities of all demographics, as well as showcasing the excellence of Quranic language within both his artistic and personal expression. He's in the back selling books, but he's about to perform. Nacho Average was holding his book when he was performing, so.
Give it up one more time for the artist this evening. Keep it going, keep it going. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah. This is about to be a movie, I'm just letting you know. I've been looking forward to this opportunity since Nacho performed here, like however many months ago. I was like, I gotta go there and it showcase for the Muslims, right? So my name is Zaid Hamid. My stage artist name is Side Effect. You can find me on Instagram at cyde.effect, and inshallah, y'all about to see why. Is that cool? Say cool. If that's cool, say cool. Well, I don't know. It might not be cool. Is it cool for real? All right, cool. So I've been writing poetry since 2015. I'm a spoken word artist. My style comes from general spoken word poetry and battle rap as well. Allah's blessed me to be able to communicate a lot of concepts that we as Muslims live by daily through my poetry, and essentially take my artistry to the next level on all stages that I'm able to perform upon. So got a couple poems for y'all this evening. Inshallah, y'all enjoy. And if I have shared this, if you do not enjoy the poetry, you get $5 off, but that's not gonna happen. Now, if you sincerely say that was bad, I might believe you, but only Allah knows. Faith is the foundational base that allows both the security and trust for you to truly believe you be safe in your space, even amongst these days with their altered darkness. Faith enables the unlocking of optics like sparks from the cause that are the start of the process, like shocks to your heart, bringing you out of the darkness in order to brighten your day. Just in case you come into contact with a fight that in a way makes you say, I think I just might want to pray, but these fights are the problems. These fights are moments of an unnatural darkness, a darkness making it seem as though you have run out of options. These fighting forces are first formed by, then affirm the imposters, like commandments, but they conjure a darkness that is conned up and then conjured by the unconscious that forced us into submission by first forging the most materialistic facade for the Father that we accepted, as they then projected their false light onto the skin of a man that was all of real faith, is what phases waves of the sun's light to walk on top of the waters, reflecting a pure human essence that is just following orders that are often observed in us orphans, privileged to witness how the creation of nature is flawless. These are the side effects of reading or rewatching my performance recordings. You cordially start acting according to the most excellent expressions of a soul in the garden before you even enter a coffin. Faith is what causes our hearts to soften. Faith is what causes us to consciously pause for caution. Our nature is to elevate through the stars, all by guidance from the cause that inspires our conscience, to no longer crawl beneath smog or sleepwalk through the darkness. Darkness brought by the false light of flames blazing and broad, chock full of toxins. Cause like moths to the flame, some souls are the same, seeming insane when singing the same chock full. Smog is the Psalms of David, the Songs of Solomon, or another problem-solving pollen that's relayed by way of the cause through lots of oxygen. But smog behaves according to the desert's doctrine. Smog is what makes the waves of a desert's mirage more opulent, causing our relapse back into this mirage of intoxicants, fostering false facts of the first facade that are always befogging our competence. And don't we always watch as this breath of death inflate then escape the chest of scriptural novices that make made in his image translate into ye are gods and goddesses? What side effects of this cause are being caused as a consequence? Well, we only see the source of true knowledge as whatever we say it is. Our acknowledgement of God adjusts just as the temperature of whichever day it is. Horoscopes, crystals, sage, Palo Santo, and astrologists have become our deities, plaguing us like intoxicants that make us more and more incompetent as they put our deities. So isn't it awkward how we've allowed the systems and power to misdirect our posture with scripture that is obviously doctored, that was formed by first altering the talks of the prophets, using a scheme of what is popular to start plotting a mantra, keeping us in the darkness they prop us upon a soapbox at an auction, like orphans, abused when adopted by this artificial form of faith from their light that is toxic. Their light is not just observed by the eyes in our sockets. I swear, from apples to apples, we just keep on biting the bondage. Just as the smog is clogging our sinus, false light causes our blindness. False light disguises the righteous. False light surmises social media likes with the pious. Vertical spikes in the stock market start to make us admired. Just as social capital collapses our hearts to the day that we dying, dumbfounded and destined for the door of the dearly departed. Covering our shame with what's discarded from gardens, all while inhaling this smog of the bothered. Smog are the ones that choose to live this life as a hostage, the ones that are praying to go astray and potentially die agnostic. If you only knew you needed these diagnostics: unity, peace, one, success, intentions, creation, and imani, faith. So faith, it took me 4 months to write that poem, from August 2022 up to December. Faith was the last poem that I've been intending to write for the last 3 years so I can complete this book. Alhamdulillah, as soon as I finished Faith, this book got published 2 months later, and alhamdulillah, I'm selling it now. So if faith is the culmination of 8 years of writing, right? What else is in that book, right? It was a lot of work, and Allah has blessed me to go through a lot of experiences, many that were challenging and many that were seen as just an ultimate blessing for me to create writings that can allow Muslims to be able to see their excellence in their environments, regardless of where they're from, but recognize that their identity and culture that is purified by the waters of Islam is what leads them forward. And it's what led me to where I am today. Alhamdulillah, this is one of the greatest opportunities I've had to spit in my life. Why? Because I get to perform for Muslims, in an environment for Muslims, in a center created for Muslims, by Muslims. It's like the FUBU for Muslims, you know? That's what I feel. This is like the Muslim FUBU here. FUBU's not a bad thing. It's, you know, it's old school. FUBU's cool. So can I do a couple more for y'all? Is that cool? Inshallah. Also, I only got like 20 books back there. So if you want one, you gotta catch me fast. So the next poem I'm gonna do is Warner Brother. I'm a Warner brother, sent here to warn a brother and to warn a sister that my life is a bar. The master of metaphors and similes exposes who we truly are. Just like the amount of money we spend on a car, a latte, a Starbucks, or a chain the same color the winged dragon of Raw, knowing dang well that these things are things that we can't afford. Like how you about to resort through this full course, like at Red Lobster, knowing you barely can be affording my claw, because I got that cheddar, babe. Meaning a portion of my authored corpus is worth more than a portion of stars. The light from my writing to start dropping your jaws like you swimming with sharks or zombies, walking from the white right back into the dark, because the throne of iron transforms this man into a star. Before when it fell, back when I started building my ark, is he talking HBO or the boat? It don't matter. Just know my lines are shocking because they written in sparks. AED from the heart. I'm giving jumps with written lines that are jumbled and jarred so you don't get drunk in the mind like Barney Gumble, stumble and fall. So before I deliver more of these L's, I'ma just let y'all sit at that bar. I'm giving gifts as I separate my statements. That's how I present a clause. Because when I plant this written material, up out of this wheat grows spiritual. Shout out to T, raking in green, because when she go lyrical, y'all attached to that heat that seep from the frost, because we be cold steel, putting the crowd on game as that fire be going off, but so chill. I thank God every day I'm protected by the source of my soul's will, keeping me vexed, because the side where I'm from be keeping me so ill. Who want the smoke? These bars come out of my soul's grill. Like Lola Lede in the kitchen, I'm cooking a soul meal. I said, Ma, I want my wife to see life like Felicia Rashad, but with no bills. If she know herself first, she'll know that these goals real. From knowing the seal, she'll know that he know the seal as signs of the living. She be wondering how he not blind from the light when seeing the vision. A mountain to palm pegs, firm in they fixtures, cause she know this heals. She know that I'm gifted. She'll already be dripped in whatever I'm dripped in, whether the well of Zam liquid light or a sip of some Lipton. My spirits remain patient because my life is consistent. After I learned I can't do this over, my life has been different. Then I learned I can do this sober. My writing's been different. Even when up close, that web of lies is keeping y'all vibes social distant. I'm Miles Morales with that exaggerated swagger. Y'all know y'all want whatever this spider lifting. Despite the tension, a hero's mission is to strive through the struggle, not fight the villains. Despite the dams of the distress, oppressed by the hieroglyphics, we've been gifted to lift them myths into higher dimensions, unfold them into sunflowers, so we're not dandy as we lie in division. With our hands on the manual on how to handle the right and the critics, we out in this wild West with our Will Smith and lessons to decipher blood from the cryptics. Definition, that's a teaching thesis decrypted. We vicegerents, taking advice to deal with the vice in our visors that are vibing different. We the ones planning this world on a mat, groaning while we write The Simpsons. Knowing there's no such thing in life that's just like a coincidence. We hoping the heathen seek and then fight for redemption. As your souls seek to breathe, we hear you wheezing as your light is dwindling. From your original Stacy's, back when your light was as bright as the hair that was as white as Gwendolyn's. We must learn to control our passions as the fire's kindling. Because what was in the beginning will be in the end again. It's written pen to pen on that liquid lens within us, descendant dividends crafting our minds so we can live again like Enderman. So now you wonder, who's the next one that the one is sending in again? See, this that testament testing if you know your worth. This that forbidden fruit again, and I'm avoiding the curse like, what's up, danger? I'm Adam's baby boy in this war covered in earth. By taking a leap of faith, I became enabled by knowing my worth. Yet to carry my cane, cause Kang the Kang, captivated with conquering for the Satan the curse. But what does that mean? Even if my poems ended in happily ever after, they still find a reason to despite a man and to despite a verse. Now I'm Peter Parker, I ain't gonna keep going. That's a 10-minute poem. I gave y'all 5 minutes. I got plenty by the book. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for the support. Give me like 2 seconds. This takes a lot of water. Give it up for yourselves. So, inshallah, for the people that have bought a book this evening, you can read along with these poems. The next poem I'm doing is Creation. And Creation you can find on page 93, if you would like to read along. Creation is a location that is capable of displaying the innate nature of excellence legislated throughout all of its development stages. Creation is a process of molding or making the best mold of an object capable of holding a breath in its breast to make progress toward higher elevations. Creation is a word of perfection expressed that's destined to be heard through its delicate display of its most relevant verbs that represent the essence of what is common and shared. In essence, the common cause calls the creation to be a word that is processed in our location, that which calls for common unity, that which calls for community through both the physical signs of our universe and our lands, displaying this outstanding farm of fluency. This language of creation is the spirit of truth, unfazed by the pollution of scrutiny, because the truth of these roots can weather your storm with an acute immunity. Witnessed as we watch the trees maintain qiyam on their sirat, beautifully balanced by the sabil as their branches multiply fruitfully. Just give it up to nature, praising God with ingenuity while we humans can barely gaze toward the path of God usually. That's why we pray 5 times a day, then walk away a lot suitably, as the logic lies within conscious beings making conscious worship, truthfully thinking, what can we do for God instead of what can God do for me? Because creation face to face as our actions are formed in mutiny. Used to polluted duties, we fools be rooted in zealotry. The globe is getting warm because we looting the mental mutually. When performing a symphony just to affirm our truancy. The truth you seek is science, but science will lack its fluency when not connected to nature, but biased within you and me. The call of nature is creation, as learned in the final eulogy, because that call is a command to man that demands unity. Not born impure, you were born in purity. Before our birth, we rehearsed this verse with an assurity, barely a baby, yet containing this most merciful maturity. Yet after birth, our purpose was hidden. So now we work for our insecurities. As the Council of 9 Seers continue to conjure the trilogy, sliding their hand over the word just to justify tyranny. Are you hearing me? Back in the day, all the saints, with their hollow words, weaned our creation away from initial victory, taking creation out of form to treat atoms with their trickery. Remember, nukes are not natural, but still the sun shines brilliantly, because fusion unifies while division dictates a ministry. Now observe the side effect of this arc of limitless energy, a fusion of ordered synergy moving in symmetry, morphing a sensitive mortal by peacefully keeping his praying soul orderly. The creator of creation's command commands this man more and more to act more morally, forcefully like the seasons. He phases my nature quarterly. Bear witness to this parable in the unseen hand in the land of Oz guiding Dorothy. Walking the yellow road through a garden containing more than trees, a whispering witch attempted slipping the slippers off her feet. That's a wicked force from the west designed to oppress and attack her modesty. But she audibly gained brains and became a prodigy. Open her heart so courage could guide her upon her odyssey, walking upon her path bright with guidance for where she ought to be. Home. And there's no place like it. This innate foundational base of our faith that's keeping us orderly, there's no place like it. This creation with its command that's demanded more loyalty, there's no place like it. Allowing those on the cusp of drowning to stand with more buoyancy. Once concealed in a veil, they'll heal and exhale joyously. There's no faith like it. As the second breath allows their breath to expand more royally, just as birds in the morning when the sun is dawning from dormancy, no more sense of complacency. Your faith will enable harmonies. There's no faith like it. there's no faith like home. And I guess it's just a reminder because you've already known, because there's no place like home. Because there's no place like this faith that we're based in, because there's no word like the Creator's command, and there's no place like his creation. So I'm getting this understanding with the themes of these poems, depending on the audience that I perform them for. These were written for non-Muslim audiences. Yo, imagine me performing for Muslims. It's like, okay, half the work is done for me already. So the order of these poems actually went backwards. So Faith and Creation are the last two poems I wrote. This series actually begins with 7 poems, starting from Unity to Faith, which are 7 of the last 10 poems of the book. The reason I went in that order is because I was following the orders of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, the first of which being Umoja or unity. I built up all the way to Imani or faith, and alhamdulillah, when I perform for Muslims, I could work my way from faith to unity. I never noticed that, but it works. For non-Muslim audiences, we have to have a slow, steady build up. For Muslim audiences, we have to get our heads out of clouds and come back down to earth. Does that make sense? Alhamdulillah. So can I do like 2 more? Is that cool? Alhamdulillah. So this one of Jonathan's, aka Not Your Average favorite pieces. This poem is the first poem I wrote after retaking my Shahada. It's called 117. You have to look in the table of contents for 117, but it's that one. Not page 117. The name of the poem is 117. Yo, I'm feeling lukewarm. Here's another lyrical dismount at a discount you could have found on Groupon. I'm tired of being known for trying to just perform and do poems. I'm feeling marginalized. I'm like lightning forced in a bottle, but I'm formed for more than 2 storms. Performing at an open mic, they didn't even my true form. See, I reek a spirit. Must you spell out his respects for people to see that he is brilliant? To be the realest? Out of my shell for a sample, R-E-S-T-E-N, peace. I hope Aretha clear it. No filter needed for me to be the purest. King of soul. I say aloud, I'm black and I'm proud of being fearless. Quiet on the set. The most beautiful film is in action and we just caught in between. Living our lives with our eyes stuck on the screen, not watching as the sun is setting the scene. I'm not mean when I speak, I just speak what I mean. The spirit of the real OGs is still deep in my genes. I'm cold pressed, even when out in the sun rocking capris, seeking the highest of seas, knowing the master chief is me because I am the master of chief, preaching what a master achieved. I believe ignoring these natural scenes is spiritually fatal. We already present in heaven, so watch me rotate my halo, then wait for your DJ to rotate the tables. The way we be spinning around you think you was seeing tornadoes. Bass to vibrate peace into the world, and debate a war in NATO. Turn war into a game, transform Ares more into Kratos. Heavy metaphors for the matadors. Avoiding that bull while still looking to pass the torch. Even to a young brother not allowed to pass the porch. Summertime holiday, we hope he make it past the 4th. He hopes to survive a local war within NATO. Let's start stopping the wars with our allies and neighbors. When we call cops, they send assassins because we cape the crusaders. We high off the ground and they need skyscrapers because we be minor, but we know that we major. See, we worthy be greater. Word to the ones worthy to wield the force, blessed with the lightest of sabers, not letting that darkness invade them. Once you witness divine signs and other evidence synchronization, then you embrace it. It just takes faith, patience, and waiting to grow into greatness. Achieve your inheritance and you'll most death piss off all of the Satans, them damn devils, proud to be heavenly rebels. If I was at Hajj right now, I would pelt them with pebbles. Knock them down another 7 levels and then give them a shovel before I tell them to settle. A bunch of witches and grand wizards wishing to eat us alive like Hansel and Gretel. They want us tied down or strung up like they got the hand of Geppetto. Turn us down so much we can't even turn up to Finetto. But I'm the Master Chief. A green leaf achieved that surpassed the Keith. A formal woke vocal that's not mass-produced in no factory, not seeking to be serenaded with pageantry. I'm pursuing the simple life, not the throne of a majesty. A brother that don't want attention, you must be speaking of blasphemy. I'm tired of writing a struggle to relate to a crowd like that's what poetry has to be. 3 years ago, I got co-signed by Rhapsody. She called me a real MC. That affirmed that the Master Chief was already within my capacity. Now, as my halo rotates, I hold my hopes high in the heavens while escaping the gravity of a warning sent to save our sacred souls from catastrophe, bringing this modernist age of religious apathy back to the roots of community that founded humanity. As my cup runneth over, you witness the stream of my flow, connecting yours back to the straight path, using nature-supported social logic. Rationally, I could teach your past about the present past and how Adam and Eve were always seen as equal and not unsatisfactory. I could teach your yogi how heaven is a physical experience, and during this life, we're tested with the smallest taste of its immaculate alchemy. For example, during my euphoric metamorphosis, I heard a word of choice from a voice more notorious than Morpheus. Some call it voodoo, and some may call it voodoo. Regardless, that's the moment I entered the cave, emptied my thoughts, then sought the cocoon, while I was fed the good word, but never off of a spoon. As the shock sparked in the dark, the sonic started to boom. This is not a game. You need to take this seriously. After those words, I was no longer a coon. This regular show character was blessed and chosen to know the God of the tombs. All my contradictory logic was then dead and buried like false gods in a tomb. When the myth of the human mold is exposed and unfolded, the word ensures our souls become wold and immune. Alcohol, acid, smokeless fire, and shrooms were no longer needed, nor consoled and consumed. After that shock of lightning brightened, my senses heightened, likened to the boldest lotus that flows solely in a golden lagoon. I perfumed as I bloomed. From that womb, I emerged connected and in tune with the inherited heirloom of our prophetic platoons, truly crossing them burning sands and cruising the dunes. Now I'm a part of the faculty. Our spiritual nature phases as we walk in the moon, bringing this baptized baby and the bathwater back from the balcony. The religion of Muhammad Ali is bringing this Malcolm up out of me. Despite the NOI's foundation being based in a fallacy, it was made as a counterweight to the God complex that till this day still enslaves our slavish mentality. But from its womb, it rebirthed the purest form of faith based in reality. Are these lines not proof of an immaculate alchemy? Just read a Quran with an open heart to achieve a universal view of your personal gallery. Find an unlimited salary. Finally puts a real spirit in your spirituality. Our souls seek to rise. So for our hearts and minds, I'm just here to remind you how to achieve your mastery and to remind you of firms that you were knowing before. You see, Hams was just passing the ball on the court. Now, side effect is here to settle the score. If you only knew, your Halo 2 is what you've forgotten to be grateful for. I know that brother feeling it right there. He ain't stopped smiling in like 10 minutes. Let that be a testament for the book. Inshallah, I know it's getting late, but can I do one more? Is that cool? One more is cool? All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Peace. We are peace. We are not just a piece of a puzzle. We are the puzzle. Piece together by piece, piece by piece, squarely rooted back to this planet that keeps us complete, and our completed planet isn't missing any pieces. That is why I know we are all completed puzzles. That is why I know our piece is important, because a completed puzzle isn't missing any pieces. So what is it that we think that we are missing? Whatever it is, I guarantee it will not bring us peace, but it just may divide us into pieces of the people we were before making additional subtractions, bend us out of shape to the point that our inner peace begins to look different, influence our image to the point that we can't recognize our form, because what is foreign can't be forced to fit. Therefore, we become forced to fight, forced to dig, forced to bury our peace in the dirt that once covered that which we now seek, the dirt that due to our fears begins to freeze, because we can't find warmth in our degrees. Now resembling dry ice, our hearts turn cold. This is the day that the eyes dry and the pain no longer allows tears to flow. This is the day that will resemble a drought near the soul. The day we'll recognize that our appetites have taken control, leaving us full of hunger and forced to wander into the darkness with our hands out front like a zombie searching for its master, searching for its mind. that which allows it to seek and explain. It was the pieces from other puzzles that could only bring us pain, making us blind to our true royalty, to the point that when we go with the flow, we don't even appreciate our reign. And that's when the tears begin to pour. The tears begin to stain the soils of our foundation, and we begin to sink deep into a place where we begin to think and we begin to plead. We begin to see that our peace didn't freeze, but it was freed. Buried in the dirt at the beginning of this piece, it was a seed, squarely rooted back to the planet that keeps us complete. It sprouts into its path of ascent like a tree, a rebirth from the earth that occurred to curb our appetite, that encourages us to be and pursue what is right, recognize what is great despite the fools in our sight, because we don't let their bit of shade dim our eternal light, because our self-determination ensures that we remain bright, because we too create life, because we reflect the sun, because we are like the moon, solid as a rock. We are the ones that complete this geode that is our puzzle of a planet, because we are its pieces, meaning we are its gems. And this is our gem. Peace.
I'm just speechless. I was just gonna show like a fire emoji, you know, like. Okay, well, our future just performed, and now we have the recitation of Quran by Tariq Khalil. And please tell us the ayahs you will recite before reciting them. And after he's done, all the performers that performed tonight, please come up on stage so that we can take a picture, inshallah. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm going to be reciting the last two ayat of Surah At-Tawbah. The last two ayat of Surah At-Tawbah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب
لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah khair, Tariq, for that wonderful recitation. And with that, we will be closing out the event for GenerAction Jam. Usually, GenerAction Jam happens on the third Friday of the month, but for this month and as well as next month, right? Correct? Yeah, for next month, it'll be on the second Friday of the month. So thank you all for coming through. And the next one will be an iftar. So it's gonna be interesting, inshallah. So I would like to get all the performers on stage to take a picture. If you performed or gave a speech or anything, if you were on stage, come up.